Hello everybody, it's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly episode, and this is episode 145 for December the 14th, 2021. Getting closer to the big day, aren't we? And speaking of which, I've been making more Christmas things, of course. I thought I was done, but apparently I am not. So I thought I'd show you something. I'm just going to throw it up here. Okay, these are little pouches, zippered pouches. That look like Santa. They're fully lined as well. And I made these for my great nieces. I added this little freestanding embroidered snowflake on each one as a zipper pull. And I think they're kind of cute. And I also embroidered in green their first initial, so I could keep them separate from each other, know who is getting what. So I'm putting this all together in a little bag of goodies for these girls. I'm not sure how old they are. I think they're under 10 years old, or one of them, the oldest one, might be 10 now. I'm not sure. So I filled these with some multicolored candy canes, and along with them I put in, and I showed these on the vlog this week. I 3D printed a couple of Santa Claus pen holder cups, and I filled those with some colored pens and markers as well. So I've got these for the girls. I think they're kind of cute, and you know, what little girl doesn't like a little Percy kind of thing? So I think that'll be great for them. And I also did another project. Now this was a kit that I ordered a month or so ago, and I just got to it, and it's my Gnome table runner. And I think it turned out pretty cute. It's an applique. The gnomes are appliqued, and it came with all the fabric. This came from a company out in British Columbia called Cottage Treasures. I have ordered from them before. And the little windmills that are there, I was showing you a week or two ago a little ruler that I bought, or a template, called the Little Twister. And I didn't realize at the time when I bought that particular ruler that this pattern took that particular ruler. It was just a serendipitous kind of thing. But I never opened up this package either. And lo and behold, it included the little ruler with it in the kit. So I now have two of those rulers. Oh well. Can you ever have too many? Yeah, actually you can, I think. But anyway, so I did this very quickly over the weekend. And I did some free motion quilting on it, just sort of a meandering or scribble kind of thing around it. And I did that just on the domestic sewing machine because there was no point in something this size throwing it on Lucy. So I think it turned out pretty nice. And, you know, you could change the colors up a little bit. These are sort of Christmassy colors. I think what really makes it look Christmassy is probably this binding strip in the like candy cane stripe kind of motif. But you know, gnomes, they're good any time of the year. You know, they're especially nicer in the wintertime, I guess. They have that winter feel to them. So, you know, you could do them in whatever colors you want to suit your decor. Now, what am I going to do with this? Have absolutely no idea. I'm just going to put it aside as possibly an emergency Christmas gift if I happen to need one. I don't really need another table runner, so what I might do is just put it aside after the Christmas season and pull it out next year, something like that. Potential gift for next year. So I'm one gift ahead, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, those are the two projects I want to share with you that I've been up to in the last while. So what else has been happening? What's new? Well, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the Stripology rulers. They're the rulers that have slits in them for making basically strips. At least that's what I thought they were for. Now, I've had a Stripology ruler in a couple of different sizes for quite a while. They're fairly expensive rulers, but I really, really like them. When it comes to cutting long strips of fabric, you know, like 2.5-inch strips, 3.5-inch strips, etc. These are great rulers. Now, there is a problem with these rulers, however, and I found that out very soon. And that was that they're very thin. And because of all those slits that are in them. It makes them very, very wobbly. So when you pick them up, you need to use, both hands and be very careful you don't let them bend. Because, and ask me how I know, if it bends, it can snap along where the cut line is, the slit is, to the outside border of the ruler. Now, I have done that, and I was able to fix it. I used clear packing tape on that, and it works fine. But, if you can avoid it, avoid it. Well, why am I telling you this? Well, I discovered something else those rulers would do. Last week, I think I mentioned the fact that I tried to cut a binding strip, not 2.5 inches wide, but 2.25 inches wide, because someone at Ultimate Sewing recommended to me, I think it was Doreen, she mentioned to me that you can get a little closer on the stitching on the top of it, so you don't get so much of a, so it flips up a little bit, the binding, if you know what I mean. And I know that this is done. I've seen this, heard about this before, but I've never really tried it. And the reason I've never tried it is because in order to cut 2.25 inch strips, I would have to do them using the markings on my cutting mat and a straight ruler. I couldn't use my Stripology ruler for that because it didn't cut 2.25 inches. It just cut 2.5 inches, I thought. Well, after I had mentioned that, I got 2 messages from subscribers saying, yes, you could cut 2.25 inch or 3.25 inch or 4.25 inch, whatever, on the ruler because there was a marking off to one side past the 0 mark that was 1/4 inch away. So you just lined up things with that. And so, you wanted a 2.25 inch strip, put the edge of your fabric along this dotted line that was just past to the left of the 0 mark, and, cut at the 2 inch mark, and you got 2.25 inch strips. Whoa. Brilliant. I didn't know that. I did not know that. And one person, I think it was Jeannie, she connected me to, or gave me the link to, a YouTube video showing just that. So I went to that, and I discovered not only that I could cut 2.25 or 1/4 inch strips, I could also do a whole lot of other things with that ruler that I did not know. Now, mind you, the ruler that they were using in that video was different from mine in terms of its markings. I think they did an upgraded model since I bought mine with more markings on it. So I decided, well, mine had a break in it anyway, so I'd order a new one, and I went to Amazon, and they're not cheap. I mean, it was costing me about, with tax and that, but I got free shipping because I have Prime, $129.99. So I ordered one, and I got it the next day. And when it came, it was sitting on my doorstep. We'd been out, came home, sitting on my doorstep, and one end of the box it came in was a little damaged. And I thought, uh-oh, I know how fragile these rulers are. So I got it inside, unpacked it, and wouldn't you know it, somebody had managed to bend the ruler or something, probably when they were packing it or whatever. I don't know if the damage had been done when the damage to the box had been done, but either way, I had a broken ruler. Well, broken on one spot, just like on my old ruler. Well, that kind of PO'd me, because after all, that was one of the reasons why I ordered a new one. And you spend that kind of money, you don't want it to come broken. So I went on to Amazon, and I know how to get into the chat part. It's not easy to find, but it's there. I've done it before, and I prefer going through a human being, even if it's online, but in chat mode, to complain about something. I've done this before, and it's much more effective than going through their usual process, which is contact the seller first and wait, 48 hours, and then contact this and that. You get more immediate satisfaction if you go through the chat mode. So I told them my problem, and to make a long story short, because I did explain this in a lot of detail on Stephen and Walter Live this past week, so I don't want to spend time rehashing that, but needless to say, I bumped it up to a higher person. Squeaky wheel gets the oil, and they gave me a full refund in the form of a gift card, which was great. I don't have a problem with that, and I could keep the ruler. So I got a free ruler because I took my packing tape and fixed it. Okay, so there you go. Now, was I trying to basically get something for nothing? No, I was not. But lately, my deliveries from Amazon have been coming slightly damaged. I just got something last night. It wasn't quilting or sewing related. It was for my 3D printer. It was some filament. Came in a big box. The tape on the top of the box that holds it closed was open, and the bottom was dropping out of the box. Now, luckily, the reels of filament that were inside were in other boxes, so they were protected and they weren't damaged. But what gives, Amazon? I think I know what gives. These are third-party deliverers. Basically, I think anybody can deliver for Amazon. If you've got a car, a vehicle, you can get on the list. And probably because it's Christmas season, and they're probably extremely busy, Amazon's hiring whoever. And these whoever's are really not taking a great deal of care in delivering the packages. So I did debate whether or not I should contact Amazon again and explain that to them. But I think I'll just leave it. Because I don't think they're going to do much about it anyways, are they? And what can they do about it? They need drivers. If you want to get your parcel, they need drivers to get it out. It's busy time of the year, and none of the stuff was damaged. So, yeah, put up and shut up, I guess. But anyways, yeah, so that's my Stripology story. And really, if you have not used one of these rulers before, they are really, really good. You just have to be careful with them, as I've said, because of the possibility of breaking it, or at least putting a break in it that you can probably fix. But, nevertheless. So that's the one thing. I wish they'd make them just a little thicker. Of course, can't make them too thick. Then your rotary cutter probably wouldn't fit down the slot. So, yeah, just be careful. Okay, moving on. So this week for a demo, I thought I would look at my new reliable steam iron 4000 IS in a little bit more detail, because now I've had it for a couple of weeks and I've been using it, and I do really, really like it. It's an ugly, ugly iron, but I didn't buy it for its beauty. I bought it for its ability to do what I wanted to do, and so far it has been living up to that. So I'm going to insert for you right now a review of my iron and show it to you up close and personal. So I thought I would talk to you today about my latest acquisition, which is my reliable steam iron. It's a tank iron, and it's the 4000 IS model. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to tell you, this is an expensive iron. This is an industrial strength iron. It's used by cleaning facilities where they have their iron on constantly all day long. This retails for $800. Yes, I said it, $800. Did I pay $800 for it? No. We only paid $600 for it because it was a Black Friday sale, and this particular iron is a refurbished model as well, although it came with a full guarantee with it. And really, I can't tell that it's been refurbished at all. Now, this is the tank down here, and what makes this different from other tank type of steam irons is that this does not have a pump. It works simply by a boiler system that boils the water in here, and that creates the pressure, and there's a pressure gauge on here, and that allows for the steam. Now, yes, it is an ugly iron. There's no two ways about it. This definitely screams industrial. However, given my history with irons and how I've been through them all, I'm hoping this one is going to pan out and last me a much longer time. I'm hoping so at that price. So, I wanted to show you some features about this. There's two buttons on the front. One says boiler, one says steam. You turn those both on when you first start up your iron. Now, this does have, to come up to full pressure steam, this takes about 20 minutes, so plan ahead when you're going to use it. However, it does take 8 cups of water or 2 liters of water, and they recommend that you use distilled water. You can use tap or do 50-50, and that's what we're using. 50% distilled water, 50% tap water. It has a little part back here that you really can't see, but there's a knob here, and this releases pressure when you're done with your steam iron. You should do that, and you have to be careful. This is hot, and this is where you also put the water into it, and it comes with a little funnel. It also comes with this little interesting device, which is basically a dipstick, and this is how you can tell how much water you have left in your tank. You just push this down in the hole, put your finger over the top, lift it up, and see what marking the water comes to. To date, I really haven't had to use this, because the one thing that I do like about this machine is there's a light here that goes on when you need to fill it up with water again. And there's also a reset button under this little cap. This little cap screws off, and there's a reset button you hit. So the first time I didn't realize that when I refilled the tank, nothing came on. No lights came on. I had to hit that reset button to get that. So, how does it steam? Well, first of all, I have a sole plate on this, a protective plate. It's Teflon covered, and this is an accessory that you can buy. They're not that expensive, but highly recommend it because it's going to protect the bottom of your iron, and these are replaceable. In fact, we got a special price on those as well, and we bought a couple of extra ones. And inside this, and it just sticks right onto the bottom of your iron. It's very snug, and there's a little wire here that holds it in place. There's a little pad, a diffuser they call it. You don't need the diffuser, you can work without it, but we got one to see if it made any difference, and it just basically makes the steam and everything come out a little bit more evenly. So, you want to see the steam? Here's the steam. Lots of steam, lots of steam. Now there is a little rubber pad that it came with, and this is, you can use this if you want to put it closer to what you're ironing. I just set it up here on top of the tank, but it does allow you to put your iron down flat. Now the reason it has that is because you cannot set this iron up on its end, because it won't stand up on its end, because it has these cords coming out of it. Now that's one thing you'll have to get used to when you use this type of iron, is the cord system. And as you can see, there is a big wire here that has the whole system. So yeah, it is definitely industrial. So do you want to see how well it works? I've taken a piece of fabric here, just a scrap piece, and it's all very wrinkly. I crunched it all up, and I had it sitting under some pressure here, and so there it is. You can see how wrinkly it is. That's all it took. So when it comes to pressing your seams flat, this works like a charm. Can you use it without steam? Yes, you can, and it has your standard settings on the iron as well for all your different materials. Of course, I have it always set at cotton because that's what I'm using all of the time. So you don't need to use it with steam, and if you don't want to use it with steam, you can just turn off this button right here that says steam. So far, I've been very pleased with this iron. It is fairly heavy as well, so if you have some problems with your wrists or hands and that, this might not be the iron for you. It is heavier than the average cheapo iron you buy at Walmart or someplace like that. Now, when you're done with the iron, one thing you should do is turn off your boiler and then pull down your steam button. The steam button is this blue button at the top here. And you can watch on your power gauge over at this side, power gauge, or pressure gauge, and you can watch it go down. And when it gets down to the bottom, where most of the steam is out, then with everything turned off, you just release the tank valve very slowly. I don't know if you can hear that, but some of the excess steam is coming out of that. Every so often, they suggest after about 6 weeks, if constant use, or a few months, that you clean it out inside with a mixture of vinegar and water as well. I have yet to do that. So I'm just going to leave it off for now. Let that drain out. And so, yeah, so this is the reliable 4000 IS steam iron. Expensive, yes, but I'm really pleased with it right now. I'm hoping that I'm not going to have problems with this one after the warranty runs out like I've had with all my other irons. Time will tell. Oh yes, and they do have very good customer support, and they do have a repair depot that's not that far away from me in just one part of Toronto, so that's very good too as well. So I'm pleased with it so far. I'll let you know how things work out in another year's time. And so that takes me to the subscribers quilt of the week. And I was really afraid I wasn't going to have anything to show you this week. But lo and behold, my subscribers have come through, and I now have quilts right into the first episode in January. That doesn't mean, though, I don't want more. If you would like me to feature your quilt or creations, whether it's a sewing creation, a papercraft creation, a painting, whatever it is, something you've created, then please send me one or two pics only, please. That's all I can handle, okay? And a very short blurb about the item as well. A couple of sentences describing it or explaining what the pattern was or why you made it or something like that, or a combination of about. And I would be more than happy to feature it. So this week we have one from a regular subscriber here, Jeannie, and let's take a look at Jeannie's latest creation. This week's quilt from a subscriber is one from someone who is no stranger to the Idiot Quilter, and that's Jeannie Eubanks. Jeannie Eubanks is a regular on here. We've seen some of her lovely creations before, and she often makes her quilts for other people, especially for people in her family. And this quilt is no exception to that. She says, "This is the only quilt I haven't shared with you. I think it's called Sparkly Squares. I began it in a class. Andy probably owns it now." Andy is Jeannie's sister, who is also a regular subscriber to my YouTube channel. And let's take a little closer look at this. From a distance, it almost has the feel of a jigsaw puzzle, which is quite unusual. And this is one that I have never seen this particular pattern before. Now, it does look like it's made up of basically a lot of squares, and some large squares and a lot of small squares. And I think this would have taken some time to piece together. Not maybe a difficult quilt to do, but I think the real beauty in this quilt comes with the layout of the squares themselves and the choice in colors and patterns, because that's what gives it that jigsaw puzzle look. And the more you look at it, the more you see secondary patterns popping out of this as well. Like over in here, you have what looks almost like a 9-patch, 4-patch. It's a very, very interesting quilt to look at. Now, if we take a look at Jeannie's quilting on this as well, it looks like she went for something fairly simple, I think, or did she? I'm just trying to see here. Yes. Let's blow this up a little bit. It's not the easiest, but you can see in here the quilting that she has done. And I am not sure if she did this herself on a domestic machine or she sent it out to be done by a long armor. It does look like Jeannie may have done this herself. She'll have to let us know about that. But I think it is a wonderful quilt, and I know her sister Andy always appreciates receiving one of Jeannie's quilts. In fact, every time Jeannie shows me one of her quilts, you hear Andy, if Andy is online at the same time, saying, for her, for her. So, yeah, it's a really nice quilt. Simple in design, yet it has a lot of levels of complexity to it. Thanks, Jeannie, for sending that to us. So that takes me to the YouTube channel of the week, and this is a YouTube channel that's just gotten started. It's called Just Me and My Fabric. So there isn't that many videos on it yet, but Angela Mitchel, who's the owner of that YouTube channel, the producer of it, she is putting them up quite rapidly, and they're very, very informative. And in fact, I'm going to talk a little bit more about Angela in a moment, but first let's take a look at her YouTube
This week's
channel.
YouTube channel of the week is a brand new YouTube channel just put up by the lady that I have interviewed this week, and this is Angela Mitchel, and her YouTube channel is called Just Me and My Fabrics. You can see she doesn't have a lot of subscribers yet, so I'm encouraging all of you sewers out there and quilters to subscribe to her channel, because I think there's going to be some really great things to come soon. It's not often that I get an opportunity to review a channel that has just been put up in a matter of only a few days, and this is one of them. So you can see she has 3 videos up already. Do check out her introduction video, because you'll get to know her a little bit better and what her plans are for this YouTube channel. She does review a current pattern that she has just finished making, and it is a lovely dress. And I did show you a picture of this dress a week or 2 ago, with that when she had sent that to me. She also sent me a picture of one of her quilts as well. And although it looks to me like she might be focusing a little bit more on her sewing experience, I do hope that in the future she will be putting up more videos about quilting as well. But nevertheless, she is a very experienced sewer, and I think you'll probably learn quite a bit about garment making as well as probably quilting from this lady. So be sure to check out Just Me and My Fabric.
So I mentioned that I was going to speak again about Angela Mitchel. Well, guess what? Angela very graciously agreed to do an interview with me. And so you will find online right now that interview under the Idiot Quilter Presents. And there's a link to that interview as well in my show notes below. Do check it out. She's a wonderful person, an excellent seamstress. She makes quilts as well. Yeah, check out Angela's YouTube channels, and she has 2 YouTube channels. She's also an avid gardener as well, so she has a YouTube channel devoted to that too. So be sure to go and check out Angela's YouTube channels, and to check out her interview as well. Okay, so that takes me to my vision board, and one of the patterns I have on that, and this week the pattern is a what you would call a modern quilt, and it's called Astrodelic. Great name, Astrodelic, and it's by Art Gallery Quilts.
The pattern of the week for my vision board is this one, which is a very modern quilt. And what attracts me to this is it reminds me of sort of a very stylized type of log cabin, or even a bargello to a point. I don't know. It's just those are the things that go through my head when I see this. It's called Astrodelic, and this is a free pattern from Art Gallery Fabric, and I have reviewed some of their patterns before that I would like to do. In fact, I have quite a few of their patterns. They have quite a few free patterns that you can download, and I've got kind of a collection of these patterns for future production, and this is one of them. Now, by the looks of things, it's not a very big quilt. It's just basically a throw, but that is fine. And they've done straight line quilting on it, which I think is a very modern technique, or at least it really projects a modern feel to a quilt. This is a free PDF download, as I've already said, and it gives you all the requirements, the colors, and you could make this out of any color that you like, but all the cutting instructions as well. And it looks like it's primarily done with strips, so that makes it even easier. So this is one I'm looking forward to making very soon. It is one that I think would be very quick to make as well. So that's called Astrodelic, and it's by Art Gallery Fabrics.
So that brings me to the point in this episode where I critique one of my own quilts. And the quilt I'm critiquing today is a Christmas quilt, but it's more of a wall hanging. And this is one I did a year ago, and it took me a long time to do it. And I have it, you can see it peeking up there over my left shoulder. It's called Starry Night Santa, and here's my critique of it.
This week's quilt of my own that I'm going to critique is another Christmas quilt, but this one is a very special quilt to me for several reasons. It's called Starry Night Santa, and it came from OESD, and it is done in the hoop. Each tile that you see here, and there are 28 of them, are done in the embroidery hoop on my embroidery machine. So these are all embroidered, and then you sew them all together and add a border to it. There isn't any quilting per se in this because the embroidery in this is very dense. And if I blow it up a little bit, you can see just how dense it is. It is solid embroidery. And it is a little tricky to get each one of the tiles together and get everything lined up. But once you have, it's well worth the effort. Now, this is a project that you want to start very early in the year. Like, I would suggest you start it, if you want it for Christmas, probably start it in the summer, because each tile takes a long time to machine embroider out. In fact, I think, if I remember correctly, it took well over an hour or so, maybe even an hour and a half, for each one of those tiles. So after a while, it does get a little tedious, but you have to picture the end result. I'm very pleased with the way this turned out. Would I do another one? Well, yes, I would do another one, but given what I've already said about the time element, I probably should have did a little bit of quilting in the border treatment, but I didn't. A little straight line would have been good. Well, actually, I think, yes, I did. I just did very simple. Maybe if I put in a few wavy lines or did a little ruler foot quilting in it, it might have made the border a little nicer. But then again, I really want people's attention to focus on the content of the quilt itself rather than the border. So I'm really happy with this. It hangs on my wall at Christmas time. I would love to have it hanging up all year round, and you know, why not? I have a Halloween quilt that hangs up all year round, which is another one of these type of tile like creations. So maybe I should seriously consider that, because after all, it's just another piece of home decor that I'm very proud of.
I would like to make another one of those type of quilts as well. The only thing that holds me back is the length of time that it takes, and they are fairly pricey to buy the file as well. But there's other designs too, and maybe for next year I'll make another one. But I'm running out of wall space to hang things at Christmas time, so I don't know. But if or get one in the spring, maybe that gives me a long time to get it done, because after a while, when you're making that many different tiles on it, although the end result is worth it, it gets a little tedious after a bit of time. Okay, so let's move to the quilt store, the online quilt store of the week. This one is called Sugar Pine Company.
This week's online quilt store is called the Sugar Pine Company, and this is a store located in Canmore, Alberta. And this is not one that I have ever ordered anything from, and this is the first time I've ever checked out their online webpage. So we're going to see what they have to offer together. So this is their first page, and if we go down and take a look, they say, "Welcome to our shop. The Sugar Pine Company has been serving Canmore, Alberta, as well as customers from around the globe for nearly 25 years. We are a family-owned and operated destination quilt shop surrounded by the scenic beauty of the Canadian Rockies, a constant source of inspiration." So they do have a brick and mortar store, and they've been around for quite a long time. So I suspect they know what they're doing. So let's just go down on the front page here and see what else they have to offer. They have a little YouTube video, I guess, showing the store. Let's just click on that and see what that's all about. So it looks like they're basically just showing some of the scenery and some of their outdoor parts of their store. And so if you're interested, you can go there and check that out. So let's see, what have we got here? We have 8,000 bolts of fabric. Visit our shop. Shop online for kits and patterns, knitting, and gifts and more. So they also have knitting. And of course, at the bottom of the page, they have their contact information and everything else. So let's jump right into their bolts of fabric. Okay, that does not allow us to connect to that. So let's go to the top of the page and go to online store. And here we have sales, Christmas sale, Black Friday bundle. Let's go to 8,000 bolts of fabric and let's check out what they have to offer here. Okay, so they have things in categories. They have Harry Potter fabrics, Call of the Wild, Disney, fabric panels, Celebrate Canada, Stonehenge, Moda, Northcott. They have very specialized fabrics, licensed fabrics, Andover, West and Southwest fabrics, Bee and Butterfly fabrics. So they've got quite a variety of brands and themes. So I love Timeless Treasures. So let's check out Timeless Treasures and see what we have to offer here. And it looks like they have, it says, showing one of 60 of 193 results. So they have a lot. Ooh, I love that. 24-inch electric skyline panel. Oh, that I really like. The colors really appeal to me, but yeah. $11.99 it says. Now that's a panel, but let's take a look at fabric here. A lot of panels. Okay, here's a batik. It says it's $17.99. Now they have some that have crossed off $19.99 and they're on sale for $17.99. Again, I suspect that that's not really a sale price. I have a feeling it's always $17.99 because that's a trick I have found that are done by a lot of online stores. So let's just go here. I'm assuming this is a meter or a yard. It is by the meter. I'm very pleased to see that. $17.99 Canadian for a meter. Well, that's not out of the way, really. So that's pretty good. If we pop back and just take a look at maybe some of their other fabrics. This was Timeless Treasures. I went there because I loved that brand. But let's look for something like, okay, Hoffman Fabrics, very popular on most websites. And let's see what the prices are for that. $18.99, $17.99 for batiks, $19.99, $19.99 for prints. So it looks like prices range from about $17, some here for $16.99 or seasonal ones, up to about $19.99 for a meter. Oh, there's some here that are $14.99. So really the prices are very varied on here. But again, I think they're within the ballpark given what fabric is costing these days, and they look like they have a large selection. Now, one thing I'm not seeing is anything that says they're out of stock. So I'm hoping that if you were to pick something and then get to the checkout part, you don't find that something that you want, if you have your heart set on, is out of stock. They might do it like many companies do. They just don't show something that they don't have in stock, which I think is a good idea. Okay, so what else do they have in their online store? I'm sure they have the usual things like notions, patterns and books, and quilt kits. Okay, let's take a look at quilt kits and see what they have in selection for that. Well, they have about 3 pages or more. Well, they have 160 in their results page. And they seem to have a wide selection, a lot of table runners, a lot of panel type kits as well. But there might be something there for everyone. Let's go back over and into patterns and books. And they have the quilt patch, Nostalgia, Cotton, Jones Own Creations, and a scrap bag. So they've got, it looks like an interesting collection of patterns as well. So going back, now I noticed in their shop that it came up here that they had knitting yarn, and they have gifts, notions, general sewing, quilting notions, a row by row kits and patterns from 2016 to 2019, mask making supplies, and they have thread. And let's just out of curiosity see what brands of thread they carry. And it looks like they've got your standard. You've got Aurifil, $14.49. That's an okay price for Aurifil. Gutermann, $6.99 for 300 meters. They have kits of Gutermann. And they have Sashiko, or Sashiko, sorry, I always say that name wrong. Sashiko thread, if you're into Sashiko. And they have Gutermann upholstery thread. That's interesting. Okay, so it looks like they have not a huge selection of threads, but, you know, major brands. So that's good. All right, let's check out classes and see what they do for that. Since they've been around for 25 years, I imagine they have a lot of classes. Or you get a discount if you go to one of their classes, 10% discount. Now, are their classes in person? You have to phone them for details and to register, and they don't list any classes at the moment. That could be because of COVID. They have a newsletter as well, and contact. Now, what I'd like to know is about their shipping. And I'm looking here at the bottom, and I'm not seeing anything about their shipping policy. So let's go back to the online store and see if we can find this out. They have a search, so let's try their search. Okay. And our 1 of 1 for shipping, okay. But it just says Sugar Pine Company welcomes virtual quilt show guests. Free shipping on all orders over $99. Use a checkout coupon. CQA, well, that's to do with what has already happened. CQA, the Canadian Quilters Association. I'm a little confused about us. Maybe we'll find it here in the About Us. Tells you a little bit about awards. Nope. Let's go to their site map. Maybe there's something there. Mailing list. Shopping categories. Well, I didn't find anything about shipping, so maybe we'll do a little experiment here. Let's put something in our cart and see what happens. I'm just double checking on here to see if I see anything about shipping that I missed. Nope. Okay, we're going to go shopping. We're going to buy something, stick it in our cart, and see what it says when we go to the checkout. I'll just pick some very common fabric here. Wow, a lot of menus to go through. Okay, Toscana, I know from Northcott. I have bought much of that in the past. Okay, so oh, that's actually a pretty good price on Toscana, $12.99 for a meter. Okay, I'm going to add that to my cart, and I'm going to proceed to checkout. Okay, taxes. Okay, shipping, here we go. Based on a zip code, okay? I will put in my postal code. Free in store, free curbside, shipping options. Oops, it's got my address in there. Okay, I guess economy, 1 to 2 weeks, $5.49. Well, that isn't horrible. Of course, mind you, that was for 1 meter. Let's up our meterage here. Let's go for 6 meters, pretending that we bought 6 different fabrics. Yeah, the price goes up. So it's based, it must be a percentage base or something based on how much you buy of something or what the cost is. But still, even on an order of this size, let's do a huge order. Let's go 18, just for kicks and giggles. So $233. Ooh, okay, free. So if I go over $100, is that what it does? Let's see. Okay, put in another meter of this. Nope. Nope. Maybe it's $150. Nope. Looks like it's probably 200. Yeah. So over $200, it looks like it's free shipping. Okay, so that's good to know too. So I think this one is very much worth checking out. They seem to have a good variety of everything quilting. And I will have to get rid of that out of my cart. I don't want that. They'll send me an email and say I haven't finished my cart yet. But I'll do that after I finish reviewing this. So that's the Sugar Pine Company in Canmore, Alberta. So you might want to check that out.
So that brings me pretty much to the end of the episode. Just what's coming up this week? What are my plans? Well, I've started another quilt, but this one was a kit, and it's a kit that I've had for quite a long time. I think I bought it very early in my quilting career, and I've never got around to doing it. It's basically a quilt based around a panel. And it's fairly simple, but I have a friend moving into a new apartment in January, and I thought this might make a nice housewarming gift. And since it's a guy, the color scheme in this is basically blacks and grays in it, and it's a geometric design, so I think it will be fairly appropriate. So that's what I'm working on right now, and probably next week, I may have it done by next week, and I'll show it to you then. So in the meantime, I hope you are got everything ready and to go for Christmas this year. And if you've got last minute gifts to make, get on with it. Time's running out. Like what? How many more sleeps? 11 more sleeps to Christmas Day. And yeah, I hope you have a great week. I hope you have a creative week, and see you next week. Bye for now.